So we are going to practice with this new project I'm uploading, and we're going to get so very, very familiar with the nav mesh, how it works, and how to program our games so that we can start playing. So this is a project I put up for you to download. It just has two levels, the floor and then some walls. So ground and walls. And we have a player here. So when you download it, and you need to practice this, really do, um, make sure when you download it from Google Classroom, let's just go there. So you're going to click on it. You're going to have to open up a new window. Remember, if you don't see it, always go open a new window, and then you're going to download it. Okay? Once you download it, you're going to put it somewhere. So go into your downloads, copy what you just downloaded, go create a new folder inside your documents window, just going using your file folder, and create a new folder, and then just drop it in. So mine's under AI, and there it is, example NavMesh project. There's the uncompressed one, or the compressed one. This is the compressed one. So once you get to the uncompressed one, of course you're going to have to extract it and extract all, wherever you put it. So I downloaded mine, I then copy and pasted it into my AI folder. I then extracted it all and then made sure when I uncompressed it, I got rid of that last part so that when I get rid of this so that it just stays in my AI thing. And then you're going to go open it. So you need to control what you open and where it is. One of the deals of being successful using the computer is being able to control the computer and know where everything is and organize your work. So make sure you put it in a new folder, whatever folder you want, uncompress it, and then you're going to go open it when you find it, okay? And it should be a project when you go there. So you're going to open it, and it's going to look like this. There's a bunch of scenes in here, so just open up the example scene. Okay, so we're going to practice with this, so we need to make sure we know what we're going to add. You should know exactly what we're going to add to our project if we're going to be able to have a nav mesh and control, and that of course is the AI package. So AI navigation, make sure you go to your registry and download. That's all I have is for packages right now. That's all I need for this particular one. So anyway, once we do that, we're going to add a nav mesh surface. So we're going to go to game object, AI, and maybe down, depends on where your particular Unity is, nav mesh surface. And then we're going to bake it. So we can see that this is the path our player would be on, and this is actually mine. So let me go back. Oh, there's a bunch of different examples here, aren't there? Let me load this one. So let me just bake this and then I'll undo it. So if we take the existing object and we create a nav mesh surface, and I bake it, take a look at it. So we can see that there's some changes we need to make. First of all, the player is being treated as an object, like a wall. So it's a non-walkable area, but we want our player to be able to walk, and we can also walk on these walls. We don't want to walk on the walls. So we need to make some changes. So I'm going to delete that, keep my sample scene the same. So if I go to my first scene now, and let me, okay, so you can see I now can move with my player. So what I did is I went to my player right here and I created a new layer called player. So you're going to add a layer called player, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be player, and this doesn't have to be called player either. You can change it, but player, because there is a player, I added that layer. So that means when I go to my nav mesh surface now, and I click here, I'm going to turn off the player. So I want to make sure that that is not baked. I want to make sure it's included because I want to be walking there. So we're going to run into these. We don't want to bake these because these are not passed. We're going to run into it. So, but we don't want our player not to be able to move. So we want to make sure that when we click on here, we turn this off so that it gets baked. Everything else is not going to get baked, which is our walls. So we've taken care of that. Now our player is going to be able to move. That's good. And let me open up my next scene. So I saved a scene with that. And you can see now that I can no longer walk on my walls. So let's see how I did that. I opened up my walls and I put a nav mesh modifier on it. So a nav mesh modifier on the walls. I then to the add or modify, so I want to modify my walls with my nav mesh modifier, and I want to make sure that they are not walkable. So I don't want to walk on my walls. So that was just add component nav mesh modifier while you're clicked on the walls. So add a nav mesh modifier on the walls. We're going to modify them, and we want to affect all of them. We could choose just a couple if we wanted the player to walk on them, and we're going to make them not walkable. Okay. Then we go back to our nav mesh surface, and we're going to go ahead and bake. So now once we bake it, we will no longer be able to walk on the walls. And of course, if we look here, we see our players turned off. So we have this filled in, and because we created a nav mesh modifier, we went ahead and changed the walls so they are no longer walkable. Well, let's just try this. Let's put walkable. Let's go back and bake. There we go. So, but I can't imagine a game where we'd want to walk on the walls. Well, maybe if it jumped up, maybe. I guess you could avoid an enemy doing that. But for this one, we don't. So again, back to the walls and not walkable. And remember, whenever we do that, we got to bake our surface. Now, let's look at one thing which we might do in this game. So if I look at my nav mesh surface, right now I have a humanoid. And if I open up my agent settings, you can see these are the settings for that particular game. I can fool around with these. I can change them. But let's say I had an ogre in my game, and he was taller, and the radius, he was bigger, and his step height was higher. So if we look at my humanoid, 0.5 and 2, my ogre is 1 and 3. So it's double and more than double on there. And my radius, the way you can step up, is not quite as high. I made him 0.2. So that's if, say, I had an ogre or a giant walking in that game. And I want to say what path they can walk on. So I would come back here and choose ogre and then bake again. And you can see that's going to be limited. He is no longer, because he's so big, going to be able to get that close to the walls or anything. So we can start determining what nav mesh surface we're going to determine depending upon what player or enemy we have. But we want to go back just to our normal one, so we just go back here and we bake, and then we have the normal stuff. So I saved a new scene for everything I did. It's a little different because this is an example. So I noticed they didn't make a scenes folder. Technically, I would have created a scenes folder, drag it in, but we're just using this thing right now, at least for an example. So make sure you save a scene. It will stick it in the assets folder. But I saved a scene for when I just baked it. Oh, when I first opened it, then baked, and then created it with my nav mesh surface on there. So, and I'm going to save this so it'll show it. Anyway, we're going to fool around with this, so we have a few quizzes on it too. So make sure you practice it, and the more we practice, the more you do it, the more you'll understand it.